All right, so my name is Lexi Sandifer. I'm the nutritional therapist here at Champion Chiropractic Center, and all of you are my clients, which is really cool. So tonight we're going to go over some important things. A lot of this you already know, and some of this you may not know. And the most important thing is you're going to take tidbits away that you're going to run into somebody and go, oh, you need to know this. And you'll be able to teach people about what you've learned tonight, and then hopefully there's some new things in there for those of you that have been with me for a long time as well. So tonight we're talking about eating for the health of it, and what that entails is looking at what you eat in a different perspective, meaning what you put in your mouth directly affects how you feel day to day. Okay? So we're going to start right here with the father, our Greek physician Hippocrates. He was known as the father of Western medicine, and they have him dated around 460 to 370 BC. So he goes way back, but his wisdom was unreal. He says everyone has a physician inside him or her. We just have to help it in its work. The natural healing force within each one of us is the greatest force in getting well. Our food should be our medicine should be our food. And this goes how far back? But he got it, he nailed it, and it's very relevant right here, right now in 2016, that our food should be our medicine and our medicine should be our food. What you put in your mouth directly affects how your body functions. So, over our lifetime, about 50 tons of food is consumed by the average American. And the average American, we have what's called the SAD diet, right? Standard American diet. And that's what it looks like. Hamburgers, hot dogs, pizza, different types of pops, etc. While it tastes good, it's not fueling the cells in our body to help us be healthy. And it doesn't fuel our cells to stop disease processes. This type of diet actually encourages disease to take place in the body. So, day-to-day dietary choices made throughout our lives prove to be either one of the primary ways in which we sustain our cellular function, or the means by which to burden those systems into dysfunction. Disease is called dysfunction or dis-ease. And in this case, you can see she's going, which one? I really want the hamburger, but I should eat the apple. And on the side here, you can see the gentleman who said, I'd rather have the hamburgers. And in his case, we know that there's going to definitely be, most likely, some blood pressure issues going on here. We're going to have some type of heart issues going on here, and definitely have some form of diabetes forming in there as well. Okay? So when we look at it from here, what is a whole food? Can I imagine it growing? Is it easy to picture a wheat field, or it is easy to picture a wheat field or an apple tree, but it's really tough to picture a field of marshmallows. Right? Right? So can I imagine it growing? This is Bastyr University. They're located here in Washington State in Kenmore. And if I were to do it all over again, I would have received my doctorate from them. And they think correctly. And this is how they want you to start thinking about your food. Can you imagine your food growing? Does this grow on a tree? Does it grow from the ground, right? How about this? Can you plant this, right? Or we can come from something like this, coconut milk, and yes, it came from a tree. So it didn't travel too far to get to this state, right? Okay, have any of the edible parts of the plant been removed? Is this product part of the food or the whole entity? So here is a whole entity, right? And then when you go by a processed guacamole, now we're looking at a part, right? All right, juice is only a part of a fruit. Oil is only part of the olives. When you eat partial foods, your body, in its natural wisdom, will crave the parts it didn't get. You ever notice that? That you'll have fruit juice, but your body's going, but I wanted, can I have that apple instead of the apple juice, right? So how long has the food been known to nourish human beings? How long's it been on the planet? Well, how long's Jif been here versus peanuts, right? How long's it been on the planet? How many ingredients does it have? And that's a big one when we start looking at ingredients. So we can pick up our Sunny Delight here, and we go down to ingredients, and it says water, corn syrup, and 2% or less of the following: orange, tangerine, apple, lime, grapefruit, and then citric acid, malic acid, ascorbic acid, thiamine hydrochloride, natural and artificial flavors, modified cornstarch, canola oil, sodium citrate, cellulose gum, sucralose, which is Splenda, sodium hexametaphosphate, potassium sorbate 70, yellow number 6, and red number 40. Okay, or you can take an apple and juice it, right? What are we looking at here? So how many ingredients does it have? Is it an apple that's been pressed, or are we looking at chemical-filled, bottled something? I don't, it's chemical something is what that is, because we can't recognize what's in it, right? The more chemicals that are in it, our body can't recognize it either. And that's the process that we forget. Once it comes in here, how does the body recognize it? And that's something to bring up with your friends when they start asking you questions about your whole food lifestyle is, what do you mean whole foods? Well, if it's going in, can your body delineate what it is? Is it an apple and it's getting processed as fiber and fructose and broken down in the body? Or does it have to go through and sort through the food colorings, the additives and preservatives, and then the body gets confused? What do I do with this, because I can't recognize what it is in the first place? So if the body can't recognize what it is, then it does what we saw with that gentleman, and it starts storing it because it's foreign to the body and it becomes dangerous. And so the body starts putting up a fight and saying, you don't belong. I don't know what you are. If I can't get you through the liver and kidneys, then I have to put you in a cell somewhere so that you don't cause issue, right? So then it accumulates and accumulates in the cells until the cells start acting up. And when the cells start acting up is when the disease process starts. Does that make sense? Okay, so what's been done to the food since it was harvested? The less the better. Many foods we eat no longer resemble anything found in nature, like Sunny Delight, right? Read the ingredient list. If you can't pronounce it, can't imagine it growing, or you got to decide, are you going to put that in your grocery cart or not, right? And that's where we decide. Is this going in my grocery cart? Is it not? All right, so when we start looking at food, we have to look at how much is it processed. So corn starts right here. It comes off the stalk and we cook it up, and this has a beautiful compound butter on there. Yum. But then we have to go, okay, where else does corn get put? Well, corn is being fed to our animals, and what the animal eats is what you're eating, right? And the thing we have to understand is that these animals were never ever designed to eat corn. So when you hear Kansas corn-fed beef or Nebraska corn-fed beef, they were never meant to eat corn in the first place. They start them as baby cows, and as soon as they wean them off, they start them on a cornmeal mash to get them used to and introduced to eating corn. And then they start growing up eating corn. So what it does is it bulks them up. Well, it's cheaper to feed them corn than it is to put them on a pasture to eat grass like they're supposed to, right? So then we look to the next side. Well, here's corn in the candy store, right? High fructose corn syrup. And then we come down here, well, your Cheetos and all those other corn chips are made from corn, right? Or they have corn in them if you read the ingredients. And I love this one, honey sauce, right? Okay. You guys count this out. High fructose corn syrup, sugar, there's your honey, woohoo! And then fructose, and then 2% or less caramel coloring, and caramel coloring is corn okay? And then we have molasses, and then citric acid, and natural and artificial flavors, and malic acid. So we have 6 different sugars in this little guy that's supposed to be honey, but that caramel coloring puts you into another realm of corn, right? So corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, and caramel color. So we've got three derivatives of corn going into that. Pretty crazy. But the other thing is, when you're reading these things and you guys are seeing natural and artificial, well, if it's natural, it should just say raspberries or strawberries. But if it says flavoring, that means they've altered it. And many of the flavorings are actually corn broken down and chemically altered to taste like strawberries or raspberries or root beer or whatever. Yeah. So these scientists are really, really smart. Really, really smart. Okay, so we all know cornstarch. We use that. But did you know they use corn oil in your shots? And as we have down here, our supplements, they put cornstarch in those too. And they also put it in your meds. So, how many people have corn allergies? But they don't know it, right? But how do you get away from it? Because you have to stop eating all of this to get away from that one thing, right? So here's the other thing. Morton's iodized salt, when you flip it over and look, it's made with dextrose. Dextrose is corn syrup. So we have more corn, right? Even when you're just using a condiment like that, or a spice. All right, so here's our big silent killer. And we want to avoid hidden sugars in our foods, but I call this a silent killer because we don't realize it's where it is, okay? So, what do you mean the cow? Why is the cow back there? Because the cow's just being fed corn. Well, after processing, when they've slaughtered the animal, they overspray it with sugar to give it more of a flavor. And many farmers, and this is one of those that when you read through the literature, you find this one, they feed the animals candy to fatten them up to get them to slaughter faster. So one of the farmers admitted that his kids, when they go trick-or-treating, he just feeds them candy, those bags and bags of candy after Halloween when they're so cheap. Yeah, so they feed their animals sugar, okay? So, well, what about beans? And this one is one that will trip people up. If you're not looking at your canned goods, the ingredients in Bush's beans is water, sugar, salt, dextrose, calcium chloride, and disodium EDTA. Well, we've got a couple chemicals in there, which means it's out immediately. But dextrose is corn syrup, right, and sugar. So the ingredients, if we're going to be buying food, should read beans and water and maybe a little salt as a preservative, but that's it. So in this case, they've gone above and beyond in putting that chemical filler in there, but they've put 2 sugars in, right? So when we look down here at the lunch meats, if you read the ingredients on your lunch meats, many of them are preserved in sugars as well. Your ketchup has sugar in it. Many mustards and that have sugar in it. And everybody's favorite yogurt is nothing but sugar, okay? There isn't, when you take a probiotic and you add sugar to it, it's null and void. So when you're eating a sugar-filled yogurt, you are not helping your gut health at all. You're making it worse, okay? And they don't tell you that. They say eat yogurt, but guess what? It's making you sick. All right, so milk, because it's lactose, ose is sugar, right? So we have more sugar there, and oh yeah, your dill pickles, they have sugar in them too. So you want to read the ingredients on those too. And of course our fun, we went through Sunny Delight already, and then all this processed food, all your pepperoni, sausages, etc. are full of sugar. So you say, but wait a minute, that's not supposed to have sugar in it. Well, exactly, it's not supposed to have sugar in it, but this is where diabetes comes from in America. This is why we have the highest sugar diet in the world and our highest rates of diabetes and heart disease, right? So we're going to do a little look-see. Serena, you want to bring the peanut butter ones around? So we're looking at peanut butter here. And this is Jif. And this is organic peanut butter. So on one side is the Jif cracker, and on the other side is the organic peanut butter. So you guys take one of each, and they're pretty obvious in what they look like. So Jif is the crunchy one. For those of you that can have peanut butter, you don't have to take it. So we're looking at the ingredients, and on Jif, and it says made from roasted peanuts. Sugar contains 2% or less of molasses, so there's another sugar. Fully hydrogenated vegetable oil, rapeseed, which is canola oil, and soybean oil, and mono and diglycerides and salt. Okay, that's Jif. Feel free to munch on those. And then we go over to the organic one, and we have dried roasted organic peanuts and sea salt. Okay, that's what it should look like. Peanut butter should be just ground up peanuts with salt. That's all it should be. Not this. Okay? So you should be able to taste a very distinct difference between the two peanut butters. And if you don't, it's because you've gotten used to this. And this is going to taste weird to you. The opposite will taste weird to you. Okay? And it's not until you start moving out the bad guys that you'll start tasting the good guys, and then you'll go back to that. As my mother brought this over to us, and my husband is a peanut butter addict. And he agrees. And I said, so what do you think of that? Because we haven't bought Jif in years. And he goes, well, since we have it, I'll deal with it. And I'm like, oh, no. It's out. It's here for me to teach to you about what not to do. So you can see where they're slipping things in, but because we are seeing this face and this commercial, we don't see what's in the ingredient side, right? So it's very important that we let the commercialism go, and we take responsibility by picking up your bottles and really reading what they're doing to the food to make sure that you're putting into your body food that your body recognizes as food and not as processed chemicals, because that's where disease starts. The more chemicals that you're putting in your body each day, the more it compounds and puts a burden on the body. Okay? So here's our next one. A lot of you know this one. So we have our Sloppy Joe with the white bun, and then we wash it down with a Coke, right? Mm-hmm. And then of course we top it off with a candy bar, right? Yeah, there's our day. And that's lunch, right? And this is how much sugar you just consumed, right? And many of you have seen this one before. And I ask you the question every single time. If I put this in your hand and I said, I want you to eat it, you would get that, You won't do it. You will not sit down to a bowl full of sugar and eat it, but you will here. And the reason is because the chemists have designed it so that your brain shuts off to the overload of sugar. It doesn't get that signal, this is too much. What it does get is the drugged response of, this is awesome and I want more, because they've chemically altered it to hit those neurotransmitters to start sending signal. Oh, one candy bar is not enough, you need 2 or 3. Or one Coke isn't enough, you need several throughout the day, right? So they're designed to make you addicted to it. That's what sugar is. It's a major addictive. It's one molecule off from cocaine. Woohoo! As a brain sensor. Yikes, okay? So that's how addictive sugar is. So we want to make sure that what we're eating is, we can see that there is no added sugars into it. We don't need more sugar than what's necessary. The other thing is our supplements, and I have people, and that's why I have these, because people bring them in once they learn. We have these gummy bear supplements that they're trying to market to adults and children because they're good for you. Well, when you go through and you read the ingredients, and a lot of people don't think to pick up their supplements and read ingredients, and it's really important that you read the ingredients. So sucrose, there's a sugar; glucose, there's a sugar; gelatin, pectin, natural flavor, citric acid, lactic acid, and then colors that are actually from blueberries and carrots. So hey, they got that right. But look how much sugar is already in this. And then when you read on the dietary label, it doesn't list the sugars. Shame on them. How much sugar you're consuming. This company did do it right. Total sugars for one piece is 2 grams. But when you count it out for the adult serving of these digestive advantages, the adult serving accounts to 1 tablespoon of sugar when you take the recommended amount. First ingredient: corn syrup, sugar, gelatin, citric acid, sorbitol, another sugar, natural flavors, lactic acid, colors from fruits and vegetables. Of course, they're going to hide that. Don't quite know what shape those fruits and vegetables are in when they got the color right. But again, digestive advantage, it's a probiotic, and then if you add sugar to it, it's null and void. Doesn't help you one bit. Actually, this is what brings people to me because they have yeast infections and chronic yeast infections because they take these and they just keep feeding the yeast infection. Okay, so that doesn't help us, right? All right, so diseases that are directly caused by a poor diet, all of them. All disease is a foundation. What you put in your mouth is what actually starts the disease process, right? All right, so fighting the disease processes, it's easy as starting with what you put in your mouth. So here we have our prize fighter over here. And I want you to think about what happens in a fight. They literally go after each other and pummel each other, right? And they end up a bloody mess. Look at that forehead. So I want you to think about that prize fighter inside of you. And they are fighting and fighting and fighting, and we get this chronic internal inflammation, right? The more foods that you're putting in your body that your body doesn't recognize, and it is full of chemicals, you are doing this to it. It is fighting all the time. And when it's fighting all the time, it gets worn out and weak, right? And what that does is it has to start accumulating and breaking down in those areas. Those cells that have been storing all those chemicals start manifesting into things like cancer. We get a cirrhosed liver. Liver cirrhosis used to be for alcoholics only. Not anymore. It's called fatty liver now, and it's because not only the high fats that we're eating, but the sugars that convert to fat in the foods. This is a gallbladder. And this is a diseased gallbladder, as you can tell, full of stones because the liver is not working right, so the gallbladder can't work right. Usually this will go first and then it ends up looking like that. And then, of course, diabetes is right in there as well, we can see. And this gentleman, we brought him back again because, hey, that is chronic inflammation. Yes, ma'am?
Those black things, that's gallstones?
These are stones, yes. Those are stones. And when you, yeah, they are big. And that's what kills the gallbladder.
What is those two?
So these are huge stones. Huge stones. So in this case, I would have a feeling this person would have almost a gangrene of the gallbladder because that gallbladder is so sick. Yeah, very, very sick. And then, of course, we have these blocked arteries as we get further and further accumulation of inflammation, right? Okay, so think about that prize fighter. Okay, so let's start getting into the fun stuff. What are some things that we can do to start preventing disease processes? What can we put in the diet? So, tart cherry juice has been around for a long time. And it's one of my new favorites that I've introduced in our diets because it's a huge anti-inflammatory. It makes the fight stop. So it's lowers cholesterol and triglycerides. It lowers belly fat accumulation when paired with a high-fat diet. It reduces the risk of stroke and heart attack. It increases melatonin levels for improved sleep. And I pair it with walnuts, and it makes for a great sleep agent. But you need to do that at night before, when it's dark. You drink the tart cherry juice with some nuts.
Would that also be like pomegranate juice?
No.
Is it-
The tart cherry juice.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So turmeric and cumin. I don't know if you've seen turmeric before. This is the tuber itself. It almost looks like ginger, and this is what it looks like when it's cut open. Have you guys worked with this at all? Okay. So I'm going to pass it around. I'm going to leave a piece out because it's going into our smoothie. But to pick it up and give it a little smell, it looks like a carrot. Has a bit of a strong taste to it, but it is an anti-inflammatory and painkiller. It's a treatment for many forms of cancer, and it prevents and slows Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS because it passes the blood-brain barrier. So it actually gets up into that brain, and it causes a neuroprotective agent because it stops proteins from clumping in the brain. So people in China and India have high levels of turmeric in their diet, and they have low levels of Alzheimer's, MS, and Parkinson's. Okay, it's very good at healing eye diseases, and for those with PCOS and metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is insulin resistance, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, and also the high blood pressure. There we go. So we'll put that guy in. In its dried state, it looks like this. You can get it in the grocery store, so you can add it to your food, and you can also get it in supplements like what we sell here, Tomorrow. So it's readily available, and it's one of the biggest things that you can add to your diet to use as an anti-inflammatory and pain reliever. They've also put it in topically, so you can apply it directly to your skin for pain reduction as well. Okay. So it's great for psoriasis. It detoxifies the liver. It's an antidepressant. And in clinical trials, this was a great trial that I got to read. They paired it against Prozac, and the people they have the same benefits as the Prozac. They came out equal, and they didn't get the side effects. In moderate level, not severe depressants, but moderate level depressive people. It's antibacterial, and I love this because I see a lot of people with H. pylori. H. pylori is a bacterial infection in the stomach, and so it does a great job of eating up bacteria, and it stops that oxidative stress in the body. Again, we're looking at those things that cause heart attacks and strokes, diabetes. Those are oxidative stresses to the body. Anti-anxiety agent, and we already talked about being internal or external. So beets are next. Have you guys gotten much into beets? Do we love them, hate them? Love them, hate them?
Loves them.
Love them. Miss Karen's going, no, girl. No, girl.
When I was growing up.
Not my favorite.
Not your favorite. Beets are not my favorite. I juice beets because I can't stand them. But these guys pack a powerful punch, and these are something that you should add in for disease fighting. You really need to add them in. Now they come in that good old blood red beet, right? This color, right? That's this one, right here. Now then we get these milder beets. As you can tell, they look almost like turnips in color. So these get a little milder in flavor, and then we have our golden beets. So when you're getting yourself introduced to beets, go this route first, work up to the yellow guys, okay? Then we go to those blood red guys. But these guys are the ones that have the big impact, and that's what we're going to talk about, okay? So they increase nitric oxide in the body, and NO, nitric oxide, expands the walls of the blood vessels, which increases oxygen in the blood, increases uptake of nutrients, and increases energy. So I have a lot of my clients take Red Ace, and this is 3 beets in a bottle. And what we use it for is, one, if they have a pathway in the liver that doesn't, what I call breathe right, they don't methylate properly, they can't get the toxins moving, it's usually because of a nitric oxide issue. And if I can't get them to do these guys, then we go this route, right? And this tastes good. So we have them take a couple tablespoons of this in the morning, and it gets them up and moving, gets a great energy boost in the day. But you would get the same thing if we did it this route, okay? The great thing is that beets decrease blood pressure. They are nature's Viagra. Yeah! So those men and some women who need that little blue pill, you give them some beets, and we have them take this just before the fun starts, right? We let it get into the system about a half an hour before, and things perform very well with beets, okay? So it prevents lung and skin cancer, and it inhibits the formation of cancer-causing compounds. And I skipped one. It says, the deep red color is from a powerful group of antioxidants called betalains. They help in the areas of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and inflammation. So you can see why I'm hooked on beets. These are really powerful little buggers. Yes, they taste like the dirt they came out of, but boy, do they pack a punch. All right, so cell detoxification and cleansing. Many of you, when I'm working with you, we talk about phase 1, phase 2 detoxification in the liver. The first phase is where the body's grabbing all the crud out. The second phase is where it's pushing it out through the bowel or through the kidneys, right? So these are huge. So many of you have been on like beta food or AF beta food. Those are beets in a cap form. So it's doing the same thing. It stimulates the gallbladder to release bile, is what beets do. And so that really sick gallbladder we saw back a couple slides ago, if that person would have really cleaned up their diet, 1, and 2, ate beets, their gallbladder wouldn't look like that. Okay. The big thing about gallbladder disease is that we're seeing it younger and younger and younger, where I'm hearing reports from doctors when I go to classes of 8, 9, 10, 12, 14-year-olds, and you just had a patient this week, he's 20, 19 or 20, have his gallbladder removed. And it's because, not because they have a sick gallbladder, that they're born with a sick gallbladder, it's because of their diet. They're eating this stuff, and their body can't process. It can't produce the bile like it's supposed to. So beets are huge, whether you take them real or if you get them in a whole food tablet. It's getting that bile to stimulate. So big thing is that I love is they're high in tryptophan. Tryptophan's in turkey, right? After Thanksgiving you get that snoozy feel. Yeah. So in this case they keep you nice and calm and relaxed, and that is what helps relieve that depression. All right, so let's make a smoothie real quick before we get to mineral salts. So every day I work, I'm working mom, of course, but I don't have a lot of time. And trying to meet what we're going to be talking about here pretty soon, fiber, is trying to get everything in that the body requires to stay healthy. And so one of the things that I do is I make smoothies, and my kids make smoothies, and my husband makes smoothies. We do them a lot. But a lot of people don't introduce foods. They'll throw some fruit in and call it a smoothie. And what we need is to get our nutrients in the day, but everybody says, I don't have time to do that. So I'm going to teach you how to get a power-packed nutrient smoothie in, okay? So I have a little bit of water in the bottom of this. And I'm going to, this is just a spring mix, and you can get kale or you can get spinach or you can get a mix. It doesn't matter. And I just take a big old handful of it, right? Salad in a cup, right? And then I'll put this up here. Standard process. Can you have this? You can have this. Oh, rest of you can too, yes. Making sure, looking through my plants really fast. Can you have this? Yes, you can have this. Okay, standard process makes a really great, I think it's one of the best protein powders out there. One, look at the size scoop that they have compared to those monster crazy guys. But this is what it should look like, just a wee scoop. And that's all you need. 2 little scoops there. And then we're going to throw our turmeric in. And I'm going to throw in the golden beet because some of you don't like beets, so we'll give you a good, nice mild one instead of the crazy bright red one.
Just put that in raw.
Yeah, everything's raw. Everything's raw. Now, disclaimer, big disclaimer, watch your blenders. You may not have a blender that can process well like this. So if you have a little NutriBullet or one of those guys, you need to cut everything up into much smaller pieces. Okay, this guy's just meant to chew it up really good. So this is a workhorse. Okay, so we've got those guys in there, and then hey, we've got to put the tart cherry juice in, right? Because it's good for you. Okay, Serena, I'm going to have you grab little Dixie cups and pour them little bits of the juice so they can try that on their own. Thank you, ma'am. There's some little cups, and you have some little cups there. There we go, so let them try that. Now, the big thing on tart cherry juice, you need to read the ingredients because they have a mix with Concord grapes and pear juice and apple juice and like that. Doesn't give you the benefit. The other one is mixed from concentrate. No, it needs to be fresh pressed tart cherry juice, preferably organic, but if you can't afford organic, and I totally get that, then they also make one that's not organic. But whatever your budget can afford, go for it, okay?
Where do you get that?
So that you can get, that one came from Whole Foods. But they do have a non-organic one at Top Foods, or it's called Hagen Fresh now. They have a non-organic one at Trader Joe's. So you've got to shop around. Definitely online. You can order it in and get it that way as well. But start looking in your natural food stores. Fred Meyer's as well. How's that? All right, so we've got some vegetables, right? We're rocking the vegetables. We've got some tart cherry juice in there, right? All right. And people have mango? Yes, we're all okay with mango? Yes? All right. So by the time we're done, this is the size for all of you, right? This is not what I, this is not a personal size, all right? Otherwise, I'm going to be eating this thing all day long. So that won't work. So, and is anybody allergic to strawberries? We're okay with strawberries? Okay. Always have to check. I'm trying to remember all of your guys' stuff, but. All right, so there we go. So this is a big guy. Now, here's one of the things that people forget to add to their smoothies, and that's fat. So, and you're going, are you kidding me? No, we're going to talk about it. And I put in a nice big dollop of it as well. Okay? Yes, I do. It's a dollop, and it looks like I'm going to need just a little more water for this guy.
So that's the coconut milk cream?
That's coconut milk cream. Have you guys, some of you, is this new to you? Because let me explain it to you. Okay. Cool.
Do you refrigerate it to harden it up?
I do. Well, in this case,
And an avocado.
this one doesn't take
What? I'm like, yeah.
a lot of refrigeration. I'll let you pass this around so you guys can take a look at it. This one's my favorite brand. The taste is amazing. It's super silky smooth. Okay, so this is going on. We've got our fat in, we've got our water in. It's going to make some noise. So when I first started doing these, Dr. Kaur, you've got to start making smoothies. And she would give me these smoothies that look like sludge in a cup. And if you're watching this, Dr. Kaur, love you. But that's what we used to call them, is sludge in a cup, because they were not fun. But now I think they're absolutely delicious. But I had to get off the sugar addiction and just my taste buds to stop trying to get insulin pumping all the time and craving those sugars. So this is going to be different for some of you and normal for some of you, okay? But you will gradually, as you stop getting that addiction of it has to be sweet, it has to be sweet, and you move into this direction, you're going to find where you'll make them and they're going to taste too sweet. And that's where I run into a problem is I'll put too much fruit in and it's like, okay, here, and I'll hand it to him because now I'm more vegetable than I am fruit. Okay?
Can you make that and freeze it?
It will lose its nutrient value. Yeah, you want to eat it, you want to drink it within the day you make it. Okay? So make it nice and fresh. And take it to go. Can you taste the beet?
Yes.
Yes?
I can.
Can you
And the
taste it?
turmeric.
And the turmeric? Yes and no?
Taste the beets.
Somebody, yeah, absolutely. Earth. You can taste earth,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
I think I taste the greens.
Can you
Yeah,
taste the
yeah,
greens?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Steve will pass around the garbage can for you guys to throw that
What
away.
kind of, you said that was whey protein?
This is Standard Processes Whey Pro. Whey Pro Complete, yeah. And this is how I get kids into protein because this has a really benign taste to it. And so you can make smoothies up so that they can handle it.
Well, don't they
If
say
you make
like
them
whey
right.
is not good for
I
you?
think the whey protein's got it sweet,
Sweet taster.
because that's all I use. I quit using fruit now.
There you go. There you go.
So is
Sure.
it supposed to be casein free?
Yes, it's casein free.
Was it one point whey was not supposed to be good for you?
Oh, everything wasn't good for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
no.
wasn't it causing breast in a little boy?
Oh, of course. No, I'm joking with you. That's soy, honey. Yes.
Oh, soy, okay.
Soy,
thank you. Okay.
yes, and it really messes with women's estrogen levels, big time.
Okay, soy.
All right, so we got a taste of some of those big ones, and you got to taste the tart cherry juice too? Yep, so it has a nice bite to it. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, pretty cool. And so that's my evening treat before I go to bed is a cup of that, and that's how I get my steps down and a little tart cherry juice and a handful of nuts and help produce great melatonin so that I sleep through the night. Yeah. All right, so we're up to mineral salt, not table salt or sea salt. So here's some samples of mineral salts. This is a black salt, and this is a sea salt, so you can do comparatives, okay? And then this is pink Himalayan, so you can see those guys. And then this one's called real salt, and this is the one I try to get most of my clients on. And you can see that it's not white. It has all these different beautiful minerals in there, the colors of sand. When you look at sand, it has all different colors to it, and that's the way your salt should look. It should look different colors, except for this black guy. He is black as black. And when you cook with it, it is something. Now, if you'd like to taste it, you can pull a granule out and give it a taste. That black salt is salty. Yeah, it's powerful. A little goes a long ways with that guy. But give them a try if you've never tried these. It's yeah, it's strong.
I bought some black salt like that, and it says like charcoal. Does it have charcoal in it?
No. Now this is from Hawaii. So this is a pure mineral salt. So if it has charcoal in it,
I got it from the Buck Spice shop
Okay.
in downtown.
Okay,
I thought it said something
shouldn't have
like
charcoal in it.
it comes from charcoal or something.
Okay.
But
This-
it said it was mineral too, but
Okay. Which charcoal does have minerals in it? Absolutely. But this is a black Hawaiian salt, pure salt. So it's
So
strong.
if it does have come from charcoal or something, is it like probably not recommendable to?
Charcoal's great for your liver.
It is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's not cancerous.
No,
Okay.
I take charcoal. No, it's fantastic. Okay, so let's learn about salt because this is another one that they keep telling you to take out of your diet and be on a low salt diet. I don't want you on a low salt diet. I want you to salt everything. All right, each cell in our body is like a small ocean containing salty water. Inside our cells we find primarily potassium. two minerals, sodium and potassium, need to be in constant dynamic balance so the cells can exchange incoming energy without going depleted energy. And what do? I work in energy all day long, right? But the big thing is there's cell signaling in and out. The good goes in and out goes the bad, right? But if you have a sodium-potassium imbalance, we start running into problems. So one of them is an irregular heartbeat. If we're low in sodium, it regulates your blood pressure in conjunction with water. It extracts excess acidity from your body cells, particularly the brain, right? And us ladies at 40 plus, we keep talking about our brain that isn't working right. There we go. That's at the end of the month, ladies. We're doing that class, right? All right, balances your sugar levels in your blood and hydroelectric energy in your body cells. It increases conductivity in your nerve cells for communication, and it helps you in your intestinal tract absorb your nutrients. It clears mucus plugs. It clears up congestion in the sinuses. It provides your body with a strong natural antihistamine. It regulates your sleep. It eliminates persistent dry coughs. It prevents gout and gouty arthritis. It helps maintain libido, prevents varicose veins and spider veins, and provides your body with all essential mineral and every necessary trace mineral it needs to thrive. It helps treat emotional disorders, prevents serotonin and preserves serotonin and melatonin. It helps the kidneys to pass excess acidity into your urine. It's an anti-stress element for the body, helps maintain muscle tone and strength, stops excess saliva production, strengthens bone structure, and prevents muscle cramping. So, salt is a big deal that they keep telling you to eliminate from your body. Don't eliminate it. Use it and get it into your system as much as you can. All right, we're moving into fats. In the body, we have what are called prostaglandins 1, 2, and 3. Prostaglandins 1 and 3 are anti-inflammatory, and prostaglandins 2 are inflammatory. And you're probably saying, well, we don't want the 2s. And that's incorrect. There's a time and place for inflammation in your body. And let me give you an example. If you're working out in the house and you need to nail up a board, right, and you're hammering and you hit your thumb, you're going to get an inflammatory response, right? You're going to get a big fat thumb. That's prostaglandin 2 at work. It says, oh my gosh, I've been damaged. Now 1 and 3 come in and say, whoa, rescue, rescue, and they put out the inflammatory response, right? But those all work with fatty acids in your body. All good fats convert to fatty acids in the body. So we want to make sure we're getting good fats in, which is called a high-fat diet, which they're telling you in the past. We're hearing more change. Eat less fat or no fat. Now they're going back to, whoops, fat's good for you. So it's anti-inflammatory. It keeps you fuller longer. It fuels your brain. It fuels your heart. It makes hormones. Hello? And they told all of us women, don't eat fat. Well, then we had a whole bunch of women with messed up hormones. No, eat fat. It prevents osteoporosis. It reduces risks of heart disease, it lowers blood sugar, and it improves skin and hair health. So here's a couple examples of fats. So this is healthy, very healthy, hazelnut oil, and our great friend, the avocado. And when I was big into Weight Watchers, you know, you could only have a quarter of an avocado because it was too much fat and not good for you. And now we're telling you, eat the whole thing. And the big thing is, it's not only full of fat, but this right here is 9.2 grams of fiber. So you're getting a ton of fiber in as well. Okay? So it gives you a double whammy. So olive oil, avocado oil, think about it, where you can get good healthy fats. All right, so next. Eating saturated fat does not increase triglycerides, but carbohydrates do. Sugar does, right? High triglycerides cause inflammation and plaque buildup in the arteries, increasing disease risk. So we want to eat saturated fats, which is coconut oil, right, is one of them, butter. Small, dense LDL cholesterol increases heart disease. Large, fluffy LDL particles are not associated with elevated heart disease and is considered benign. And you can actually take a blood test to see, do I have small particle or do I have light, fluffy, buoyant? Okay, and there are people in Sweden that are sitting at 800 in their cholesterol levels, and they have light, buoyant, fluffy particles. No heart disease. Sitting at 800, and if you get over 200 in the United States, they're slamming you on a statin, right? Yeah. All right, saturated fat raises HDL, the good cholesterol that lowers heart disease risk. Okay, so everything that you've been hearing about, unsaturated, polyunsaturated, all that, you need to have the good fats. Okay, so let me get back to good for you fats. Serena, can you pass out the crackers with the butter? So, one of the things that we're told in the United States is eat margarine. It's good for you. And I actually had a client come to me the other day, and this is a cracker with real butter on it. So, you're told not to eat butter. And what this gentleman learned in his class is that if you're going to have butter, then you need to mix half margarine and then butter so that you get a healthier fat. No. and this is a dietitian class that he's taking. And I'm going, oh my gosh, they're teaching this, and this is so not okay. And so here's an example, and I want to show you the difference. So this is Kerrygold grass-fed butter, okay? And this is big box store organic butter. So they're both really good quality butters. But can you see the color difference in what you just ate was Kerrygold? See, can you see the color difference? So again, cows that are fed corn look like this, and cows that are fed grass, like they're supposed to, look like that. Can you see the difference? And taste the difference. There's a huge difference in the taste of Kerrygold versus, and here I am sponsoring a company, and I'm not even getting paid.
And they are in the big box store.
And they are in the big box store, and that's where I get Kerrygold, is in the big box store. Otherwise, it's really expensive if you go to the grocery store and just buy it. It's crazy expensive. But if I'm doing, like, kids are, Mom, I need a batch of cookies for whatever, then I'm going here, right? But if I'm sitting down to dinner and I'm having a baked potato or vegetables and I'm putting, they get Kerrygold, okay? They get the good stuff, all right? But I'm not baking with that stuff because it is expensive. But man, is it good for you. Really good for you. So that gives you a little taste of what real butter tastes like. And that's the reason why your body, again, recognizes this for what it is. When we look at the ingredients, it says cream and salt. That's it. That's all it should be. When you pick up margarine, it probably has about 10 different ingredients on it. So again, really look, because this is the one that will feed prostaglandins, 1s, 2s, and 3s, so that they function properly in your body, convert to those good fatty acids that your body needs to create those healthy cells, beautiful hair and skin, right? And help fight off disease processes. All right, so fiber is a big one. And in America, we don't get enough of it. So soluble fiber holds water and changes into a gel. So people who use Metamucil, it gets that gel down in the bottom kind of stuff, all right? And then insoluble fiber sinks. So fiber is food for many microbes in your gut. It stimulates bacterial growth. And the big one, it gives your poop bulk. That's what gives it from the thin diarrhea form to actually being what it should be, nice and healthy. So fiber causes fermentation of the microbes in your gut, which converts to short-chain fatty acids. There's those fats again, right? And fatty acids make up the cell lining. It's really important to get good quality fats in your diet and fiber. Fat and fiber go hand in hand. So the US RDA suggests that women get 25 grams of fiber and guys get 38 grams. But when I went through and looked at the studies, those that did 50-50 soluble, insoluble had much better results in their diet. And the big one was for diabetic 1s and 2s. Their dependence on insulin went way down when they had a 50-50 mix, but 50 grams total. So up higher than what they're saying, 20 doubled. So 50 grams of fiber a day. So 25 grams soluble, 25 insoluble. So here's the thing, that children in the United States get a quarter of what they should. And what is the number one thing I see with kids coming in? Constipation. Because they're eating foods that have zero fiber in them. Zero fiber. Because those Cheetos and all those guys, no fiber. No fiber whatsoever. So, fiber lowers your daily glucose excretion. It lowers insulin concentration. It lowers your triglycerides and LDL particles. And it decreases hypoglycemic events. So eat your fiber, ladies, and we'll go into that in just a minute. You ate the nuts and some apples, I think. So we're going to talk about those in just a minute. The benefits of water, the number one thing walking through my door is people aren't drinking enough water, hands down, dehydrated. It absorbs shocks to your joints and organs. It cushions your bones and joints. It moistens the oxygen so you have easier breathing. And transports nutrients throughout the body, regulates body temperature, removes waste from the body, prevents tissues from sticking. Those of you that get massages and they say that you're very sticky here, that means that area is dehydrated. It doesn't have enough moisture in it, okay? And normal electrical properties of your cells, and it's necessary for calcium absorption and assimilation in your body. Ladies, we suffer with osteoporosis. You have to drink water. We have to. All right, so here's your signs of dehydration. Fatigue, anxiety, irritability, depression, food cravings, cramping and spasms, headaches, migraines, heartburn, joint pain, back pain, fibromyalgia, constipation, and colitis. Sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah, dehydration. So how much water should you be drinking? Take your current weight, divide it by 2, equals the number of ounces per day that you should be drinking of water. So a 150-pound person divided by 2, 75 ounces per day. Okay? Fermented foods. We're going to be teaching this class next week. You get to make and take your ferment with you, whether you like the taste of ferments or not. Terry, I'm going to have you go home with one that you're going to try out. So I'm not going to go big into explanation on ferments, but they are huge in that they are for your digestive system and reduces allergies, treats diarrhea, increases your probiotics, relieves headaches, ulcers, helps your skin conditions, assists pancreatitis, eliminates constipation, decreases joint pain, improves immune system, and your nutrient absorption. So in Bastyr, they have a great picture called your Bastyr Healthy Plate. And what this looks like is not the typical RDA plate. They want you to have some fruits, some vegetables, your digestives, and we just talked about that. That's your fermented foods, right? And then your healthy fats, your proteins, waters, and some whole grains or starches. So here's an example of Bastyr's plate. So I have my healthy greens and avocado. Here's a bunch of fiber already, right? And then shrimp, and then I have a couscous blend, or excuse me, quinoa blend. And I thought I had it. Is it behind here? So this one is a blend of white and red quinoa, millet, and buckwheat. And a 1/4 cup of it has 4 grams of fiber. And we tend to eat a little bit more than that. And then pear. And then I have taken, when it talks about digestives, that's apple cider vinegar or your sours to help you digest. So lemon squeezed over the top of it with some hazelnut oil. And I now have a perfect healthy plate. Easy, right? We think this is hard. This isn't hard. This is easy. right? And this was my dinner. It was very tasty. Very tasty too. So adding in your fats, adding in your fiber, and the balances of fruits and vegetables is much easier than we think. We get too much in here and trying to be perfect, and that's not where it's at. It's at, let's take this a bit at a time and see where we can add to it. But I love this, and if you guys want a copy of this presentation, I'll just email it to you so you can get these pictures and that, okay? But that is an easy thing to teach your kids. It's an easy thing to take to your husband and go, look, this is how we should be eating. We should not be eating a bunch of this. We should be eating raw and real so that our body recognizes it and that it can be healthy. So, did we get these? Did you all get a little cup of the dried apples? Okay, so those are over there. And then here are some nuts as well. So when we're talking about getting in fats and fiber, people say, but I'm on the go and I need a snack. Well, these are a great quick snack. You can get these at big box store. It starts with a C. And they are at 4 grams of fiber for a half cup, okay? And yes, it has 20 grams of sugar, but it's an apple, okay? They have the ingredients, organic apples. That's it. It's just a dried apple, okay? If you have a food dehydrator, make your own. What they've done wonderfully with these, for those of us that crave that crunch when you're wanting a potato chip, but you really shouldn't be having one, this is the way to go because they're really crunchy. So there's a cup over there of these that you guys can try out. And then our other favorite snack in our house is raw nuts. And these are unsalted raw nut. And good old Costco again. And they have bags over in the baking section of different raw nuts that are, I think, less expensive and you get more than these. But my family likes the variety. So again, you're putting in 2 grams of fiber per 1 ounce. Well, my family eats way more than 1 ounce in a setting. What you got was tonight is about a 1 ounce setting, but my family goes through nuts like crazy. But again, another set of healthy fats and protein and fiber, okay? So helping you get this in your day, the 25 grams getting fiber in. We got 9 to 12 in just in the drink right here. This one, that right there is 13 grams of fiber right there in that bowl. So it's easy. I've already wiped it out just with 2 things. And then I add in my nuts and like that, and I've got my fiber in. But I'm one of those that likes to go up on the upper level, so I take 2 gastrofiber at night before I go to bed to up my fiber intake even more. Because it fights disease, it fights cancer, it fights colon cancer big time, and intestinal cancer. And that's what's huge out there right now. Pancreatic cancer is huge. This, getting your fiber in and getting your fat in is what's going to help you fight cancer processes, you guys, big time. Getting vegetables in that you don't like the taste of, mix them into a smoothie and get them down, because those are the guys that fight the disease processes for you, okay? All right, so we go into our final here, food shaming, body shaming, consequences, what can we do, right? Here's the big thing. We start feeling guilty because we're here. And all of us start here. And then we need to get to here. I don't like food shaming, and I don't like body shaming, because everybody's body's different, and we all start somewhere here on the spectrum. There's very, very few people who come to me who have what I call munchy crunchy granola parents, where bean sprouts and tofu and all that were the norm. I just don't get those folks. I just don't. And I wasn't one of them myself. I had my own fair share of nuts and twigs and bolts growing up because my dad was big into it. He was one of those earthy people. And there's nothing wrong with him, but we also had our fair share of ice cream and candy and all that as well. So the big thing is don't get down on yourself because we're not eating perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about taking steps at a time, and that's what I have here, taking your next steps. You're going to start small. So you have Jif at home. When Jif runs out, then you go buy the other guy, right? And you start getting your taste buds used to what a real peanut butter should taste like. All right? Well, I'm drinking Sunny Delight. Okay, well, when Sunny Delight runs out, then I want you to go buy apple juice. And when apple juice runs out, then I want you to get a NutriBullet and start juicing, making real apple juice, right? Or, like us, we don't drink juice anymore except for the tart cherry guy. Okay, so start small and build from there, right? And that, again, goes into replacing old habits with new habits. Educate yourself. The internet is alive and well, and you guys all know that you can pick my brain at any time. At any time. I'm more than happy to help you with any questions that you have. And the big one is I want you to live and eat with purpose and intention. And what that means is that you're going to purpose yourself to move forward. You're going to move out of this and move into this, right? And that you're setting yourself a goal. That's the intention. I intend to, by this time next year, to have overhauled my diet to this extent, okay? But the big thing is understanding that disease starts here, and we have to move out of here and move more out of the chemicals and get to the body, into the body, what it can understand as food, real food. And knowing that our kids, when they go to the schools, they're going to get fed whatever the government provides them as food. And it's our job, once they get home, to put the real stuff in. And their friends are all going to be, come on, let's have our Gatorades and all that stuff. So making sure that your home is a safe haven for their bodies too, because they're growing. And by the time they get to our age, cancer is going to be it's already through the roof, but it's going to be quadruple, triple to quadruple what it is now. So don't let your kids and grandkids be the victim of what the food industry is creating, okay? Stand up and fight for yourself and fight for your family. Get the good guys coming in and get yourself nice and healthy.